Okay, hi, I'm Alice and I live in Grand Island, New York, which surprisingly enough is in Erie County. Um, but anyway, today I've talked to you about different kinds of creative writing practices in the past. And today, because I got the idea from the last one that I did, as I mentioned visual journaling, but hardly anybody had ever heard of it. So I thought, that would be a good topic and we could really get into it. So today it's visual journaling. I have to admit, I did have a lot of fun with the making this presentation. I just love all these colors and everything. Um, and visual journaling is a practice where you can record into a book um, your words, your images, your ideas, your concepts. It's a great idea for self-expression, for your personal thoughts, and for creating meaning out of what you see and experience. Visual journaling can be used personally, or it can be used if you're a teacher. You might want to take this to your students, and it helps them to understand and come up with meaning for things that they're learning. Because sometimes when students are presented with concepts, especially in a lecture setting, it's just a lot of words. But if they can journal it, then it has meaning for them too. So I hope this helps and people can hear better. Um, okay, so some of the characteristics are that visual journaling, like any other journaling, is a private thing. And it's not something you have to show to anybody. There's no judgment, there's no comparison. It's not a contest, it's just for you. It's designed to be a tool for your self expression. And there's no limits to what you can do in your visual journal because it's so private. Okay, so you can use a variety of art supplies and you can create mixed media with paint, collage, photos, drawings, hand lettering. You can use stencils or anything you like. I mean, it's just whatever you like is what you can do. It is, as I mentioned, your personal space that anybody can maintain a visual journal regardless of your artistic skill level. So it's not like meant to be an art show. I'm going to have an art show, but I'm not going to have my visual journal in it because that's private. It's meant to be just for you. It's a way for you to document your life, your experiences, your thoughts, your dreams, anything you want. And it's it's a tool that's accessible to everybody. Because you know how a lot of kids in school are told you have no imagination, you can't draw, you can't this, and you can't is not a good thing to say. It's almost as bad as I can't, which is actually worse than you can't. So it's a versatile thing. It can be used across all content areas and disciplines. It's really great for a master naturalist because it combines the visual elements with descriptions, with words, and because nature is very visual, this is something that lends itself well to visual journaling, which is why I thought this would be a good topic for us. So there are many benefits of visual journaling. One of them is that it can help to decrease stress and anxiety. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I tend to suffer from um, seasonal affective disorder. So during the winter, I feel more stress and anxiety and depression than I do during the summer when I'm a happy camper running around outside looking at insects because I love insects and checking out of the plants and digging up weeds. So in the winter, I kind of feel trapped, but the journal helps me to deal with that sort of stuff. Um, the visual journal can help to increase environmental awareness because when you are journaling, you're focusing on the world around you. Or you could be focusing on your inner response to the world around you, which is also helpful in increasing environmental awareness. Maintaining a visual journal is a good practice, especially when visiting different places. It serves as a record that can help maintain your memory of the experience. So like this picture here is of an island that I visited when I was on a cruise last January. And I did maintain somewhat of a visual journal when I was on the cruise so I could help remember my experiences. Okay, so your visual journal gives you the opportunity to write and to illustrate the random thoughts that you may have. Because we all have random thoughts that pop into our heads every now and then. By reviewing these random thoughts later, you will remember what you were thinking and feeling at any particular time. And that helps you understand, like, yeah, this is how I saw something in this way and why I did it that time. So how do you get started in creating a visual journal? What you want to do first is decide what you want your visual journal to look like. So do you want to get a sketchbook or something that looks more like a photo album with spaces where you can write? If you can't decide which you prefer, you can always get both. I mean, they're not super pricey. So you can get a sketchbook and you can get a photo album because you'll probably need something for drawing and collage and just plain storytelling and something else for photographs. One of the fun things about having a visual journal is decorating the cover of the book to reflect your personality. With this journal, I use wallpaper samples and collage to make the book mine. So this is me. I mean, I don't look like that. I just had fun doing a silhouette. And then I got to pick words and a bird, and it was fun to do. Books come in a variety of sizes and shapes. This one is a mid-sized book. You can also use a photo album as a visual journal. This is the photo album that I used to create a scrapbook visual journal for my 2011 trip to Ecuador. So I was in Ecuador for 9 weeks. I spent 5 weeks in language school in Quito, and I lived with a family in Quito and went to language school every day. And the family didn't speak English, although they did try to speak English. The only problem was when they tried to speak English, I couldn't understand a word they said. And I asked them, could you please say that in Spanish? So there were enough spaces in the pages to write stories and impressions of my time in Ecuador. And so the other 4 weeks I was in Ecuador, I was a volunteer at an organic reforestation project in the northern part of Ecuador, not far from Colombia. So this book is full of what I saw, what I experienced while I was in Ecuador, and it was really a great experience. So visual journals can also be very portable because like sometimes when you want to write or draw in your journal, maybe the book's too big and you didn't want to carry it, but you can actually have a tiny book that you can put in your pocket or a purse. So this is a little book that I'm using, and it tucks in comfortably into my purse. And I have a collection of pencils and graphite pencils, color pencils, rulers, and all sorts of other art supplies. So I'm always prepared to just journal whenever the mood strikes me. And it always strikes me in church because I'm not really good at listening. So if I can draw, I actually listen better. So you never know when you're going to get the urge to use your visual journal. So should your visual journal have a particular look? Is there some sort of mandatory look to it? No, each one is unique and reflects the personality of the person creating the journal. Your visual journal, as I said, it can be any size, from very large to very tiny. I've used all sizes of books as visual journals. Having something that you can carry with you easily is always a good choice. I, for example, like to have a tiny journal that I can tuck inside a purse with a black pen and a set of colored pencils. Having a very portable visual journal gives you more opportunity to capture more images and to brainstorm more ideas about how you are observing the natural world. And so this is something that's really cool for us because like we all experience the natural world in a different way. Like many people here have more of a scientific mind than I do, and I have more of a artistic mind. So when I sit down and look at nature, I kind of think in poetry, whereas other people are observing this isn't quite right, but this is, and I think that's really awesome, probably because I can't do it. Okay, so this is from my um the photo album from when I was in Ecuador. So I have these photographs, and I was actually at that point at a um it is like a Quechua village where they invite visitors, and we were there. I was with two other people who were volunteers at the Organic Reforestation Project, and we were there for the vernal equinox, and they have a whole elaborate ceremony about the vernal equinox where they prepare all this food, and then they dig a hole in the ground and they put in and I describe it here. They put corn husks and various leaves in the hole, and pineapples and plantains go on top, and boiling water is poured in because there's food and there's heated rocks, and then they put boiling water in the hole, which they cover with canvas and by dirt, and the food is actually cooked inside the earth, and they say it's the earth is our mother, the Pachamama, and musicians play while the food is cooked, and we do a dance around the hole where the food is cooking, and we walk in the disturbed soil, which feels very nice on our feet, and then we wash our feet, and we have this meal. It was quite an incredible experience to have. I've never experienced anything like that. I've never imagined that food could be cooked underground, but it was absolutely amazing. So now I'll go to the next. And these are some more examples of how to make visual journals. Each one is different. So in this one, I was just really fascinated by bees. So I drew this picture of bees with a bee with colored pencils on on a sunflower, and then I added some facts about bees that I thought were really fun and cool. And then this was collage. I thought this would be an example of collage that I could offer a lot of words and music. Um, so now this is where points that I want to bring up that are good to discuss. If you're interested in maintaining a field journal, visual journaling is a way to keep your notes and the images that go along with it with your observations. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is if you're more interested in maintaining the visual journal to remember the places that you've been, this is the right tool. So it's very versatile. It's a lot of fun, and you can use it for whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. And that's the whole point of it, is to make you happy and to maintain a record of where you've been. So what would you personally want to record in a visual journal? And this is where I'm going to ask Christy to help, because I can't talk with you and also read the comments. So in the comment section below, and I'll give you about 4 minutes, write what you would most like to record in a visual journal. What would you want to make sure that you have a written and a visual record of your experiences? Please write a few words up to a sentence. So I'll give you like, I think until about 7:23 maybe. And I guess I'll just tell you why I really love to do visual journaling. Visual journaling is something I started just like maybe about 2 years ago. I had been keeping a diary for some time, but after my mom went into the nursing home, it was like I didn't know what to say, and I didn't really have any positive thoughts. And I really don't like negativity, especially from me. So I stopped doing that. But about 2 years ago, I thought I really want to get back into journaling, but I need to do something different. So I thought I like drawing in a sketchbook, and I like writing, and I thought this would be a good way to combine both my storytelling and my artwork into one, so that I could have these remembrances. And I think that it's been really good for me. So if anybody has any ideas, feel free to unmute and share them until I move on with this. But I think I will go on to the next slide. And
Alice, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, this is Pete.
Hi,
I know
Pete.
I've seen on TV where in England, when they're teaching young people, young children how to bird,
Mm-hmm.
they really recommend watching the bird and journaling. Well, I don't know if you call it journaling, but it's like copying, writing pictures of the bird just to increase their powers and hone their powers of observation.
Oh, yeah.
So rather than just look at it and let it fly away, if they can get close enough, they really, really try to encourage young people to learn that way. I thought that was pretty cool and reminds me of this.
That is so cool.
And I actually saw a video where this this bird was pretty close by, and there was 4 or 5 young children with books actually studying it and trying to draw things about it. It was really, really good. You know, it was cool. If the bird will cooperate, you know.
Right. Some birds are kind of uncooperative and present attitude. Other
Indeed,
birds are better.
yes,
Like I really appreciate birds that will sit still long enough for me to take their picture.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
There
I
was
just
a
thought it was interesting that in England, the emphasis is just on what you're talking about. You know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is super cool.
Alice, kind of to bridge off what Pete's saying, with an English reference, the Scouts do this for environmental science merit badge. One of the things they have to do is sit out in the field for hours, and they ask them to take a record of what they saw, and they also have to make a map and point out on the map where they saw what they saw.
Mhm.
So the journal would be a great place to put the map.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that. That's awesome.
yeah.
And
Also, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
just to feed off of that, in elementary school gardening club, we have the children start by drawing, what they see in a garden. And then by the end of a semester, we ask them to draw their ideal garden. And It's so sweet. That's definitely an easy, quick form of journaling without books, but
Right.
they put so much detail and love into their drawings. It's really sweet.
Oh, wonderful. I love that.
Pamela, that reminds me of a Harry Chapin song. When a child, there's so many colors in the rainbow. There's so many colors in the morning sun. That one. There's so many colors in the flowers, and I see every one. And the child's really drawing, and he
We
gets
need,
a teacher who says, "No, no, no, you got to stay within the lines, and you got to."
Nah.
So he's kind of stifled, but then later on gets a different teacher, and he blossoms again. So
blossoming. I hear what you did there. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. It's a good pun too.
Well, it was accidental, but it did work, I guess.
We'll bring music into it. That would be a good plus. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, just
Yeah, that's another way with journaling is that if you want people to do journaling, and you're like with the group, say if you're like if we have a group together, what you could do is play music and then people could just write and draw their impressions of the music.
Oh. Hmm.
Or you could put something there, maybe the music has some effect on how they're experiencing whatever they're seeing.
Yeah. You know, Alice, years ago, I was a student at Antioch, New England, and I had a course called New England in Winter, and this instructor was Donald Stokes of the Donald Stokes Field Guides. And that's what he made us do. He would never, he refused to tell us the name of anything. He said, journal it, draw it, observe it, find 3 things about it, whatever it is, that is different than anything else you see, so that the next time you encounter it, you'll know it's it from your observations, and then go home and look up the name of the darn thing. But that's exactly what he would do, what your suggestion. Just to make you into a good observer.
That's one of the things that you learn when you learn how to draw or paint is that according to one of my art teachers, the goal is to help you learn how to see.
Yeah.
Alice, did you want my help to read things in the chat or?
I would love that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's 7:26 here. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Chris said behavior is something that to record. I said names, especially if I'm interacting with people, because I'm very bad at remembering names. So I like to write them down so I can see them visually, or names of plants or animals. For me, visualizing helps me to remember. Trix said changes in vernal pools. Lori Dittmer said travel. We used to do scrapbooks. Now we compare words with the photos in an electronic album that helps keep the memories fresh. Nice. Pamela says, I would draw tree shapes, leaf shapes, etc. to help identify species. Camille said, I kind of want to start a journal to document the park across the street from me and how it changes throughout the seasons and years. Very nice. Linda said the date and/or season, location with the drawing / picture. David said weather data with observations.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's very helpful too. Especially if your pages are like your ink's running because it was snowing. Missy says the little moments of nature that I see on my way to work. Okay. And David says conditions. I always forget the weather, time of day, etc. Also, I can't draw well, so I think I could manage clouds in the sun.
Clouds are hard to draw.
Yeah. Adrian said the things I observe at certain locations, i.e. species seen at a pond or vernal pool in the spring or spring ephemerals and the timing of their emergence, etc. And Corinne says flora and fauna encountered in the field accompanied by smells or sounds associated with the encounter in the field. Other conditions too, maybe a map or location piece.
This is
And-
great. Would you be able to
Yeah.
like have this emailed to everybody? Because these ideas are so fabulous.
Yes, yes, definitely. Chris said that iNaturalist kind of works as a visual journal for me. I can add notes to document other stuff. Okay. Jennifer says seasonal changes / phenology. Nicole said the scene, what I am seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, and anything I may touch, I think. It says tough, I think touch. Species observed, any experience I have. Joy says date, time, temperature, location of a location I am sketching. Mary says migration patterns. Shane says emotional and reflective moments, how being in nature impacts your emotions or thoughts. It can be calming, invigorating, or meditative. Very nice. Maureen says, I love to sketch and describe organisms, landscapes, rocks, etc. that I haven't been able to ID yet, or things that inspire me. I include metadata such as day or date, location, GPS, coordinates, temperature, weather, wind, speed, and direction, moon phase, etc. Later on, these things remind me of the session. Catherine says, I like to record details of a specific plant so that I might look it up later, the site, the time of year, etc., so that I could look it up later. In the age of the cell phone, I still haven't used the apps to identify a plant. It's good. It's good to still use some books. Maureen, my latest entry is about New York scalewort. I didn't know that it is a liverwort. And then Missy asks Pete what Harry Chapin song. And Lori adds that its flowers are red. Catherine said she had her students draw 2-inch squares and put small detailed drawings in the squares. The drawings were so improved because the entire page sometimes is intimidating. Oh, very good idea. Thank you, everyone.
Everybody has such great ideas. I'm really loving this. I'm gonna move to the next page. Okay, so does anybody actually just have any questions you'd like to ask?
Do you go back into some of your drawings and rework them, or do more?
Yeah, sometimes I'll go back to the old drawings and do them again. And then I can see how I've changed as an artist, how I've changed as a person. And it's really interesting. So I have not necessarily a visual journal, but I have a bunch of pictures that I'll do over and over again in different mediums to see how they look. And I use a limited collection of colors so that they have different colors all the time. It's the same image, but with different colors and with different mediums. And I find that it's the same concept, but something about each one just is so different. It tells a different story.
Alice, you might have said this, but how long have you been doing this?
I've been keeping an actual diary since I was about 18. And then I've been keeping sketchbooks for the past 30 years or so, I guess, because I took an art class and the teacher told us that we should draw every day. So I started drawing every day. And that helped me grow as an artist and as a person because I was able to tell my story through my pictures. But that was just a sketchbook. I didn't think anything of it until somebody told me that was like a diary. And then 2 years ago, I made the conscious decision that I would turn it into an actual visual journal.
Is there an aspect of nature you are drawn to the most?
So I have to admit, I have mad love for insects.
Ah,
When I started with my master gardening class, I had no idea that I liked insects quite that much. And then we had an entomology session, and I thought, oh, this is the thing that makes me happiest. I just love these bugs. They're like so cool and so awesome. So I love that. I love walking by the river. I'm very attracted to water. And then I never imagined I would ever become a bird watcher. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh, look at that um red-winged blackbird. Oh wow, there's a Cooper's hawk up there. And it's like, how did that happen? I don't even know when I started doing that.
ah. What about insects is it that you really like?
So first of all, I love that they can fly. Second of all, when I look at them, the detail of their wings and the beauty of their bodies, it's incredible. I think that um, butterflies and bees and dragonflies are just the most gorgeous things I've ever seen.
You know, I give interpretive walks at the refuge in the last 2 weeks. There's a late season dragonfly called the meadowhawk.
Uh-huh.
And they've been showing up and landing on people's arms and shoulders and chests. And I've always wanted to hold a dragonfly, but I was told when I was little that they sew your lips up, you know? Yeah. And of course they don't, but childhood trauma, right? Ah.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
actually
well,
held one the
yeah.
other day, and I didn't get bit or sewn up or it was something. So maybe someday I'll join you on an insect walk. I don't know.
I think we should have an insect walk. I think that'd be so cool.
Hey, Alice,
Hi.
how can visual journaling enhance one's observation skills in general? And a second part of that would be, do you have any techniques to improve, like on attention to detail?
So what I find is that when you're to draw something, you really have to look at it and you really have to focus on it. Even if your drawing isn't accurate, remember, it's not the quality of the artwork, it's your story. But still, just trying to draw it means that you have to focus on it and you have to pay attention to it, which automatically improves your attention to detail. That would be basically, in a nutshell, what I would say about attention to detail, that it would absolutely enhance it. So thank you for the question. Yeah, that I think it really does have a positive effect on that.
Alice, what would you say to someone who, like me, who can't draw worth a lick?
Oh, you don't have to draw because can you take photographs?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, you could take pictures and then you paste that into your journal and you write your observations.
Uh,
Because you don't have to draw. You can do collage. You can do photography. You can, when you do collage, like say if you're at a particular place, you want to remember exactly where it was, you can paste a map into your journal and just put arrows. I was here and this is what I saw. So it's totally up to you.
Pete, there's a great app available on your phone for both Android and iOS called Wonderland Nature Journaling. And it allows you to upload the image and put the text in and attach any files, all that stuff to it, even sound
Wow.
files.
Thank you.
Yep. Alice, I've been looking at doing a small session of nature journaling with veterans, like a couple hour session with veterans. Any ideas or tips that you could give me?
First of all, talk about observation, talk about being in nature, talk about writing what they see, and what they're feeling at the moment, and drawing out what they want to draw. If they see something that they want to draw, to go for it. But definitely to write what they see and what they're feeling and what they're experiencing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
And if you want to email me, we could discuss it further.
I will, Alice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there another, more of the name to Wonderland? Because when I type in Wonderland, I get some cartoons and Disney stuff.
I had to type in Wonderland space nature journaling, I believe.
Nature journaling.
Yeah, Wonderland space nature space journaling. The app has a colon in it after Wonderland, but I couldn't find it with the colon. I had to type in without the colon. Wonderland nature journaling.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. By Wild Wonder Foundation.
also just having worked with little kids,
Mhm.
you know, doing the crayon rubbings or charcoal rubbings, it's not intimidating at all if you're working with veterans or people who haven't drawn before, and you can put paper up on trees and get the bark
Oh, that's a
texture.
great idea.
Oh,
But-
that's cool.
Leaves within, and it's like immediate satisfaction, immediate gratification, you know.
Another thing you can do is collect leaves, and then you can put paint on the bottom of the leaf, and you can push that onto paper and roll it on and get a leaf impression.
Great.
I was working with a group of people with disabilities, and one of their frustration with nature journaling is very difficult to get outdoors. Especially in the winter months, looking out the window can just go so far.
Right.
And folks like that really benefit by having things brought into them. So it could be skulls, it could be dried herbs. It could even be apples, and you dissect them different ways to experience the delight and joy of seeing seed patterns. I can go on and on, aquariums, bringing in pets, that kind of thing. But, the whole idea is, like you said, Alice, is to observe very deeply and then add questions to what you're observing. And putting in those questions next to your observations, sketch or a photograph or whatever people choose to do, because that engages the mind in a way that promotes more discovery and cognitive connection.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you, Maureen, for that.
Alice, you said earlier that, you feel kind of confined in wintertime. And one of it might be his first book he ever wrote, Don Stokes, A Guide to Nature in Winter, might be a good thing to, it might get you out there looking where you thought it was a season where you didn't have anything to look at.
True. For me, part of the problem is that it gets dark really early, and
Yeah.
I don't have a car. So when I go out, I have to make sure to get back before it gets dark.
Right.
Whereas in the summer, when the sun sets at 9 p.m., I can really have a good long walk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good idea. I'm going to be out walking this winter. I just have to make sure that I get back home in time so I don't turn into a pumpkin.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So there's various ways to contact me, and I've given you my email, and I have a website which includes my blog, and my blog is called Sun, Moon, Stars. I have a snail mail address, and if you email me, I'll give you my phone number. So if you want to talk to me and like bounce ideas off of me, I'm really excited about that. I love talking about this. So if you want to talk to me about it more, I would be a happy camper. And now that we're approaching winter, I need any excuse I can to try to be a happy camper.
Thank you so much, Alice. That was really very nice. I'm going to try
Yeah.
some of these things with my nephews. I've done some things with leaves and painting and that type of thing, but my one nephew loves birds, so I think we can dive into birds next.
That'd be great.
I'm
And so
sorry,
the other thing,
Alice, can you go back to your
that is-
email again, please?
what's that?
Can you go back one screen so I can get
Well,
your
I can
email?
tell you my email.
Okay.
Walking Tourist Alice. It's all one word, Walking Tourist, Tourist,
I got that part. Yep.
Alice
hmm
at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And also, if any of you are interested in forming a master naturalist writing group, creative writing group, I would love to do that. So maybe that's something we could think about forming.
Very nice idea. I love it. And thank you to everybody else. It was a great conversation tonight, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you all being here for the very first dark Monday Naturalist Exchange. So it's good to see everyone. We will have another one next month. And thanks again, Alice. It's always a
You're
pleasure
welcome.
to have you.
Thank you.